What's up? I'm Jamie. I'm a grateful, recovering human being. Thank God for the third tradition, which states my only desire, the only requirement for membership is a desire to not drink, because I have more things going on in my life than just alcohol. And I hate talking about myself, but I'm not going to talk about anybody else. So I have to speak to 120. See what kind of material I can come up with. So I just tell the truth. I was born and raised in Somerville, South Carolina, born across from McDonald's in 1974. 51 years old today. I just got screened for all kinds of midlife health stuff today. And for the most part, I'm all right. There's a couple of cholesterol issues, but other than that, I'm pretty good. I'm young at heart. I'm wired naturally. I drink decaf coffee. I'm very passionate about life. This program is talking about being more selfless and not selfish, but my whole life I've been codependent and a people pleaser, and I've been very selfless to the point where it's exhausting, and I give away my resources to people and places and things that I kind of have wasted it on, you know? At least that's how I feel. I'm sure there's some gain and some value in there somewhere, but there's a lot of principalities in the program that I really love, and it's nice to do that 4-step and take an inventory and pull everything back to me. Anytime I see something in somebody else, I always turn it around on me and make sure I check myself to make sure I'm not doing that stuff. And that's what's beautiful about this program, is that I'm not out, I do still get angry and get triggered and get fired up about things that are unjust and this and that, but I'm always making sure that I'm not doing that same thing, And so that brings me a lot of value in my journey, because I've been sober for 11 years. I picked up one chip. I have not relapsed yet. It doesn't mean it can't still be a part of my story, right? I'm a professional musician, guitar player, singer, performer. I travel the world entertaining people, and I do it around town as well. And I love playing in bands, recording music. I'm recording a heavy metal album right now that's really, it's like therapy. It's like a punching bag to just have a ventilation for the angst and frustration that I have on a daily basis. Instead of taking it out on people, which I still have an ability to do, I take it out on my guitar and the microphone, and just it's a great source of therapy for me. I've done yoga. I've lived in Costa Rica. I've hung out with the spiritual gurus that have $5,000 courses and $15,000 courses to teach you how to become your greatest version and all that stuff, and hung out with the plant medicine people doing ayahuasca and psilocybin and all of that stuff. And, I've had some interesting, along my spiritual journey, I've had many different encounters with different ideologies and theologies and belief systems. I was raised a Jehovah's Witness. So at 7 years old, I was knocking on your door Saturday morning when you're watching cartoons and eating Fruit Loops. I was there handing out some paperwork about Jehovah, God, and the kingdom and all of this other stuff. So I had a unique childhood. I didn't celebrate birthdays. I didn't stand up for the flag in class. I didn't pledge of allegiance. So I was kind of an outcast from the start, which in hindsight gave me some advantages in life. Like I kind of was less concerned about what people thought about me. I've already been the weird kid. I've already been the outstanding one. But a lot of insecurities come with that too, right? A lot of self-doubt, a lot of bullying. Plus I was always the smallest kid in my class. There was these big rednecks that would come around and challenge me and test me. I still get tested today because I'm a nice guy, and it could be in business. I like to support my friends in business, and then something goes south, and I'm just always the guy that's like, okay, man, whatever. I don't stand up for myself. I hate conflict. I don't like fighting. My nervous system can't handle it. So I've always been kind of like, there's a Diary of a Wimpy Kid, I think is a movie, right? Kind of something like that. But I also have a fierce temper and anger and a blame thrower that I will burn everything down in my path if I get hit with the wrong scenario. So it's kind of like a Napoleon complex, right? And so the reason why I'm here in these rooms is to stay out of jail, stay out of prison. It's not just about not drinking. It's about not getting triggered, not allowing my anger to take over, because I got a lot of anger from my dad. My whole family's angry, and my whole family's very, like, there's a lot of mental illness in my family. Bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder. And, you know, the sobriety is the one thing that keeps me sane. Like it talks about and how it works, you know, if you got mental problems, you can still get sober if you have the capacity to be honest. So I'm deadly honest with myself. And I have trouble lying. I can't sleep if I lie about something. If I don't pay my taxes or I'm bad on a bill, I can't sleep. So this whole program for me is like regulation of my nervous system, right? It gives me calm plateau. You know, having the same sponsor since I got back is really powerful. Having you know, a really good network of people that I know and trust and love is really powerful. Connection is the opposite of addiction, is what they say, right? So I love just being in a meeting. If I have any doubts, or sometimes I'll be like, I don't really want to go to a meeting. I don't want to sit around anybody or talk to anybody, but I'll go to the meeting anyway, and it'll just crack open something, and I'll get a shift, and that's good. So these rooms have saved my life. The program has saved my life in many ways. But if you rewind to when my mom left my dad because he was an abusive Jehovah's Witness, like religious figure, I started at 10, 11 years old. I was in 5th grade. That's when the divorce happened. I started smoking weed at 11, drinking. My sister brought a bunch of partiers around, a bunch of freaks and rebels, and, you know, they had the place called The Wall where all the smokers hung out in high school, and, you know, the punks and the metalheads, and she brought all the freaks around. And so I started the party life at 11. So I'm 51 now, so I'm 11 going on 22 basically at 11 years sober, right? The arrested development is a real thing. Like when you stop developing, stop handling things on real life terms, you just smoke it away. Like, yeah, like it, right? So I've had a whole lifetime of that stuff. So I'm still catching up. Like I'm still a kid, y'all, you know? And well, thank God for that, because it gives me a young spirit, and it makes me a better musician and a better performer and a better entertainer, right? So something to be said about the blessings of, you know, what would be seen as negative traits, right? And I have to do that. I have to alchemize every negative situation in my life, whether it be fear, pain, shame, guilt, all of that stuff. There's a gift in all of it, you know? Like shame shows me a way of not to be anymore. I don't like the way I felt after I did that. I'll never do that again, right? There's these little nuggets of truth and joy and love and peace that you can find on the opposite side of betrayal, you know, that I've had to deal with from my family. My brother recently just exposed a bunch of family drama and private stuff on Facebook for the whole community to see. Like he revealed some of my 5th step work that I did with my sponsor that was pretty intense and deep, you know, and it was exposed to the public. And I'm a public figure. So my brother did everything he could to tear me down after I gave him a career. He just betrayed me, and it's been the deepest pain I've felt over the last 3 years. My nervous system's never been the same. I've been in constant fight or flight. I have not slept 8 hours in 3 years. Like I'm on this constant, like, unrest, you know. I'm still in it today, and I don't know what it is, you know. I don't know how I'm going to fix that. And so I just keep coming to meetings, hoping I'll catch a glimpse of this higher power of God that you see. I've got baptized on August 24th, right? I was thinking that might be a doorway to that, and no, nothing happened. But apparently I'm in the book of life now, and when I go to the gates, I'll be good to go or something. But the whole God thing, right? The beauty about this program is they're not telling me what that is. I get to find my own version of that. And God knows I've had a lot of books and philosophy, Taoism. I used to take martial arts and Kung Fu, so there was like Chinese philosophy in there. And I've always been on this spiritual journey to seek God. And I still have not found God. But the closest thing that I have found God is when I call it the spirit of sobriety speaks through the humans in these rooms, and they talk about life and how you're affected by me, right? How I'm affected by you. And when somebody shares some vulnerable stuff, it's like it cracks you open a little bit, right? And then it lets a little bit more light in. And I'm here for that because that's pretty human and that's pretty godlike. That's like love. I think God is love. I think unconditional love and light, is what created this entire universe 3.7 billion years ago is what the scientists say. But God is fleeting, I don't know if I'll ever really know. I've prayed to Jesus Christ, Jehovah. I've had since I was a kid, and these ideas of names and stuff. I've hung out with the mystics and all of that, and I'm still seeking it. Just to be completely honest, I don't know what God is. I don't know who God is, but I'm open to it, and I do feel guided when I say a 7-step prayer in the morning or a 3rd-step prayer, like, God, thank you for this day. Thank you for my life. Thank you for the rest. Please give me the right thought or action today, the right non-action. Help me use restraint of pen and tongue and text and email, and don't cause any harm. That's my daily prayer, And so if I open myself up to that, then I become this antenna and this channel and this vessel for love and light and compassion, and I have a better chance of writing a better song. Because that's my love language is music, right? It's my ability to unite a room full of strangers with music that they know and love. Like, country roads take me home to the place. It's like clockwork. And I get paid a lot of money to do it. But I wouldn't have that if I wasn't sober. I would have burned it down a long time ago. I've already been... I took acid way too early in life. At 11, I started smoking weed and drinking. By 13, I was taking acid, and it opened my mind up to some stuff I probably shouldn't have seen. And then I got busted dealing acid at 14, went to juvenile correctional facilities, hanging out with the wrong people. I took the rap for the dealer. You don't rat them out, right? You don't drop the dime. So I did that. I did the right thing. Street terminology, right? So I took the rap. I ended up going to R&E and for 45 days in Colombia. They saw I was this little squeaky kid. There's no way they're going to send me to John G because that's where all the real violence and the real criminals are. And so I was biting my nails on that. I had Norbert Cummings as my public defender, which ended up turning out to be one of the top lawyers in South Carolina, but he just happened to be the public defender because he was just getting into the bar. So that was God looking out for me right there. He saved me there. When I was in, those juvenile correctional facilities, I learned a lot of language. I learned a lot of criminal language. I learned a lot of, I had a lot of insight as to what criminals are doing and how they work and how they operate and the lingo, and I saw the other side of it, and I got a lot of street knowledge, I guess you could say. But anyway, I got out and went back, skateboarding, playing guitar throughout my teens. I became a locksmith at about 15. I was working down at Kiel on Seabrook, driving around in a van when I was 17. I didn't like high school, so I dropped out and got my GED at 17 years old because I just wanted to work. I thought I was going to be a locksmith for the rest of my life. But that was my mentality as a kid, But during that time, I was still smoking weed, drinking beer. If I had a joint and a beer, it was a good night. That was the pinnacle of life for me. That was like, life was good. I got a joint and a beer. I'm high, I'm hanging out with my friends, and I got a beer, and we're all laughing and having a good time and playing music. And that was life. It was so simple. Like, what happened to those days? It was so easy to please me, Anyway, but music has been a driving force in my life. I've played in bands since I was really young. I was a lead guitarist. I spent most of my hours in my youth in my room playing guitar, running scales, and practicing my craft instead of going out and socializing and parties and stuff like that. So I'm a little autistic or Asperger's or just oblivious to social cues sometimes when I'm in the vicinity of partiers or people talking or rip-rapping. Like, that's not my forte. I'm kind of quiet on that level. So if you think I'm weird, you're absolutely right. I put my energy and time and focus on other things than my social standing. And I'll say some off the wall stuff, and it'll be real awkward sometimes, but that's just me. But I still get by. I say that because if it wasn't for the time and energy that I spent playing guitar and practicing music, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. And I wouldn't have the impact that I have, whether it be teaching other musicians how to do what I do and inspiring them. And some of my students have surpassed me, which is great. Or going and playing festivals in Costa Rica and spreading, a positive message through my music, whether it be about gratitude or self-love or just, turning the alchemy of the human experience, like I was talking about earlier. I have a song called Shadow Play instead of Shadow Work, because basically you're playing with these emotions. It's like, I see you fear, you help me to steer clear. I know you don't like it when I push you away, but I don't know what else to do when I am afraid. But I am glad you are here. Don't be so quick to disappear. Never mind my tears is like part of one of the songs of Shadow Play. It talks about shame. You've been given a bad name. You give me hindsight on why I should not fight. Your intention is to bring me closer to the light. I am glad you are around, keeping me humble and connected to the ground. So it's lyrics like that I take my life experience and turn them into something that can be relatable to other people. And so at the end of some of my performances, people will come up to me and tell me like how much it affected me with like tears in their eyes. And there's no better reward for your life's work than to feel like you touch somebody's soul on that level. And that's the gift that I get to have. That's my God. That's my connection to my higher power, is through music and through my connection with human beings who are sick and suffering. And I give them a little bit of relief from that, letting them know that they're not alone. And so that's very powerful for me and very real for me. It's tangible, right? Other than some of the other things. I don't know if I'm making any sense and how much time I got left. 20 minutes or so? Okay. I'm not a good public speaker or storyteller. You're supposed to talk about what it was like, what happened, and what it's like now. So in my youth, all the drugs, I did every drug there was, hanging out with people that were older than me, ended up smoking crack, freebasing cocaine, doing cocaine. Methamphetamine struck me hard in 97, where I was up for days not eating. I was skin and bones, got pulled over by a cop, ended up going to jail. I threatened his life and his wife. So they kept me in jail for 3 months. I was put in solitary confinement, very dehumanizing. I don't know why Berkeley County gets away with this stuff, but they completely dehumanize you. And this is in county jail before they convict you into prison. So there's no innocent until proven guilty. That's bullshit. It's not true. You are guilty until proven innocent. And I suffered on my own account, completely responsible. It was my own fault that I ended up in there. But they put me in C-Pod, which is where you're in there for 24 hours a day, except once every 3 days they let you out for 10 minutes to go take a shower. And they let me take a shower at the end of I was the last guy in 10 doors, right? And they let me take a shower last. And by the time it was my turn to take a shower, the whole end of the pod, the 2 showers were at the end of the pod, and the drains were clogged. So there was a foot of water that I had to wade through to get to the shower, to take a shower. So at that time, there was a lot of riffraff going on, a lot of communication, and I had a mouth. I was coming off of meth. I was, pissing everybody off, and there were these guys in the 10th door that jammed their door. Both of them came out and jumped me as I'm naked in the shower, and I had to fight these guys as I'm naked, and we're slipping and sliding and barely standing up because there's water everywhere, and I'm having to fight 2 guys at one time, and the cops just let it happen. They wanted me to get beat up, but I didn't get beat up. I wasn't like Rocky or anything, but I was able to handle my own, and that was bizarre. After that, they sent me up to forensics for psychology at William S. Hall in Columbia, and I became a guinea pig for psychotropic drugs. Because when you're in a dehumanizing situation like that for 24 hours and your sensory deprivation, it does things to your mind, especially if you're coming off of methamphetamines. So I was tripping, literally, but not on acid. It was life and sensory deprivation and coming off of meth. And so, they took me up for an evaluation. That was a very bizarre situation. I could go into detail. I could make a movie about this stuff. It's pretty crazy. But I went through the gamut of the justice system and the mental institution system back when I was 97. So what it told me was, I'm pretty good. I'm okay as long as I don't touch drugs and alcohol. As long as I'm not messing with meth or any of that stuff, I could be civil and somebody who could probably have a chance at life. And that was just a hard way to learn that. Everybody's got their stories with their worst blackouts and their worst drugs and alcohol situation. And this is about alcohol, but alcohol for me leads to other things. So that was when I was about 23. I got out. I ended up moving to Atlanta because I was homeless. I didn't want to get out of jail. When they were releasing me, I was like, can I stay for dinner? You know what I mean? Because I was institutionalized. When you sit there and you get used to 3 hots in a cot, you don't know what you're doing when you go back out to society. So I got out, started walking down 17 towards Somerville. I didn't know where I was going. I was just, everything had been burned down to my life. I was starting from square one. And it was me and a pair of shoes and some jeans and a T-shirt, and I was just walking aimlessly. And this guy, Chris O'Quinn, who has my same birthday, picked me up and took me to the store and bought me a pack of Marlboro Lights and a Mountain Dew. And I hadn't been smoking, and I was like, why am I smoking? But that was pretty cool. Chris O'Quinn just passed away. He was sober. He was in the program. Chris O'Quinn, he's been in the rooms. You might have known him, but he recently passed away. But me and him shared a birthday, and he leaves a great legacy. And so I'm grateful for that. But when I was getting back on my feet, my brother came and took me in. I lived on James Island for a while, was dealing with the Folly Beach crowd. We started partying again. Alcohol and drugs has come in and out of my life. And then eventually I started playing music in Atlanta full-time, 2003. And I started playing and touring with this band. We played like Club La Vila in Panama City Beach for spring break, which is a big MTV club back in the 80s and 90s and 2000s. And we played a bunch of other places. Went to Alaska. I opened up for the Dead Kennedys and freaking the Iron Maidens and a bunch of. I've met amazing musicians and throughout my career. But there's been times when there's 24 gumdrop shots on the stage just waiting for us. Like people would nonstop bring us alcohol. And honestly, I never really had a big taste for alcohol. I just drank because it was what everybody else was doing. You know what I mean? So by default, by my association, I became an alcoholic or became, drinking way too much. So alcohol's always been there. Drugs have always been there. Parties and women have always been there. Lots of opportunities to do, things that the program teaches you not to do. And so, to come in here and be like, hey, like maybe shift your mindset a little bit. Like, let's start thinking about how you're affecting other people by doing this. You know what I mean? By standing up there and getting everybody to take a shot and encouraging them to buy more alcohol or party more, maybe get into a relationship that is very, one-sided, and so that's what's beautiful about this program is the principles and everything I'm learning about myself and how I can just become a better person. And so I might have something to give away to somebody else, just by coming up here and telling you guys how crazy I am and all of this stuff, maybe you'll feel better about yourself. I don't know, but anything I can do, man. Anything I can do. But like I said, I'm not a good storyteller. I'm not a good speaker. I am grateful for, the opportunity to just tell the truth and be honest and transparent. And, we've all got our own stories. We've all got our own experiences with abuse, childhood stuff, things that we take to the therapist and we don't broadcast on Facebook like my brother did. There's a connection that we all have here, and it's just to want to be a better human being and leave a legacy so that when the funeral comes, there'll be some people to show up and be like, hey, that guy did something good for me. He was there. He shared something about his self and his soul that really helped me out. And if I could do that for one person, or a couple of people, that's pretty cool. Because God knows I've been the opposite of that for a lot of people unintentionally without even having the self-awareness to know what I was doing. And so out of all of the work that I've done, self-awareness is probably the best nugget that I get out of all of this. Self-awareness, connection, courage to talk about myself because I'm very insecure. I don't like talking about myself. I also I'm a public figure and a professional musician, and I have a brand out there, and I have, a following, and there's haters, man. There's haters that will come by and chip at your ankles and take shots at your shins and just try to trip you up because they're jealous of your success and how you have this gift. Like God gave me a gift, and there's haters out there that wish they had it. And it was just in the form of my own brother, after I tried to help him with a 6-figure career to help him feed his kids that I love. And as a result, he's pulled his kids from me. I can't see his kids, and that kills me. So I don't have kids myself. And so a lot of pain came out of that. That's been the heaviest trip that I've had recently that has taken me out of homeostasis, out of my focus. Because when I'm in my flow and I'm in that state, I'm unstoppable. And I just flourish and I just bloom with these colors and this powerful music and these powerful statements that come through my music. And it's a spiritual experience. I got an opportunity to open up at the music farm for Rome and Duddy. Rome plays for Sublime. Duddy's from the Dirty Heads. These are prominent bands in the scene. And I got an opening slot to play for 600, 700 people at the music farm with just myself and an acoustic. It was the most powerful, transformative thing I've ever done in my life, man. And it was just me and my lyrics and my connection with the crowd. And it was that defining moment when everything you've ever done and got yourself out of bed when you didn't want to get out of bed for, right? And all of the stuff that you did, they tell you, you got to grind it out and you got to do this and you got to, in order to be successful, you got to do what other people aren't doing, and I'm like, okay, I'm doing all this stuff, but where's it at? Like, I'm doing it. I'm disciplined. I'm doing the work. Like, where's the reward, God? And that night was it, it's on YouTube actually, but it was a magical night where all of my skill set came together and my guitar playing was on point. The dynamics were on point. There was like this connection with the audience. My lyrics were resonating. People were just like there was just chills after chills after chills. And all of that came together at that moment. So that's one of those moments in life where you're just like, think of a time when everything was in flow and coming together and you felt complete gratitude and connected to the universe or God or whatever. That was one of those for me. And the only reason that happened for me was because of these rooms and my sponsor and sobriety and the courage, because I'm an introvert and I'm scared to talk and I'm scared to talk to people. And I'm just this little scared kid at 51 that has the ability to go up in front of tens of thousands of people with a microphone and a guitar and not flinch. So that doesn't make any sense, guys. It really doesn't. Like, there's no reason why I should be this scared little timid person, but it's from the constant scrutiny and judgment and haters that I deal with on a public level because of their jealousy of my light. And so I downplay myself and I try to fit in and blend in and fly under the radar. And I don't drive a flashy car. I don't wear flashy clothes. You know what I mean? Like, after my show, I jump off the stage and run out the back door. I don't want to hang out and be told how awesome I am. I don't receive that well. I don't know if it's because I don't feel like I'm worthy of it, or if I'm just, there's a sense of inauthenticity to it that I sense because they're drunk a lot of times, and drunk people, it's like they're zombies, like, and it's like this energy, right, that I can't deal with. It's like creepy, and it's like, I have to put up boundaries and put up this love bubble of the sphere around me. And so it's just easier to run out the back door. So I'm not looking for fame. I'm not looking for fortune. I'm not looking for attention. I'm just here to serve in the most humble way, but as like a warrior also, right? Because I know I have some gifts and I know I have some things to offer, but I'm still working through that. I'm still working through some things. And, if I could improve on myself today, even a 2%, that compounds over time. And eventually I'll be everything that I desire to be. Like, I'll live my dream. I will be, at this point that I think I might be trying to arrive to. But if I also just stop thinking about the future and stop thinking about the past and take a deep breath and just sit in my body in stillness, and just receive, I can open myself up and be a vessel for God, for truth, for love in this moment now. I don't have to think about where I'm going to become or where I'm going. Just this one present moment. It's what I'm always chasing, because I'm always in my head and it never stops. So that's one of the beautiful things that has been presented to me through there's some spiritual gurus in these rooms, man. And it's crazy because they don't look like it. And I've actually resented some of these people. But damn it, they'll come up here to the podium and they'll be like, wow. I'll be like, damn it. And you have nothing but respect. And you have no choice but to respect that human that just shared that part of their spirit and soul that connected with yours. And that's why I keep coming back. That's why I get up here and face my fears of talking about myself and sharing with you guys some vulnerable stuff, because this human experience is a misunderstanding, the whole thing. We talk about in the 7-step prayer, defects of character. I think it's important for language for myself to not call it a defect of character, call it a misunderstanding of the human experience, because it's not a defect. We're beautiful soil, dirty soil that's, here to produce flowers. And that's part of it. And so, any type of, I'm so off of this script. Jesus, I just jacked that up for like the last 20 minutes. I have a big heart, and I love too much, and I give away my pearls to swine. But if I keep doing it, I'm going to find the right people that are going to connect with me on the deepest level. And that's why I'm here. If I can find 1 to 2 passionate soulmates, friends, lovers, it's all worth it, because I don't need I don't need the whole world to like me, but I used to need the whole world to like me. And that's crippling. It's exhausting, and it hurts. And it's like, I doubt myself, and I have a black belt and beating myself up. And I don't know who God is, the name, person, place, or thing, but I have a feeling if I empty myself and I release all expectations of people around me, places and things, I'll have a chance to listen for something that'll come through, and I'll be activated or motivated or guided to do the next right thing, which will in turn send a ripple into the universe to maybe make some change within myself that will be able to affect somebody else to make change within themselves. And that's the best I can do. I can't control other people or the outcome or the results, but I can let go of expectations. I can do one thing at a time, which is make my bed, which I didn't do this morning. I got to go back home. Say a prayer, set intention, speak with kindness and love, even though I still fight and want to fight, and I look for angry, like I get angry and I look for reasons to judge people and start fights and conflict. And I'm sick of the injustice. I'm sick of the politics. I'm sick of left and right. I'm sick of poverty and rich. I'm just exhausted from the world. And I think I have, there's way too much information coming in via social media, via videos and shorts. And my addiction to digital devices, it's like a digidermic needle, right? And so that's my new thing that I'm working on conquering. And I do that by deleting the apps, right? And I'll still meddle with that, but that's a whole nother addiction, right? Not sleeping well because I'm up watching videos on my phone, but I'm not drinking, I'm not doing drugs, you know what I mean? I'm pausing before I'm biting somebody's head off, calling my sponsor, probably not as much as I should. And I don't know what to do, guys. I need your help. You know what I mean? And if I come in here, I can get another chance at doing the right thing and building some equity. I've got 3 sober houses right now. It's 27 souls that depend on me. And that's my way of giving back, because I travel too much to come in and be a sponsor or effectively participate in group conscience meetings or GSR stuff, right? So I create housing for people that are in sobriety and trying to get sober. And that makes me rich, to be able to feel like I'm giving something back. If there was one more thing that I would want to say, it's that if you struggle with depression, suicidal ideology, isolation, loneliness, no connection because of the way technology has taken over our communications and community. We're not outside anymore. We're not getting together. And when we do, we're very scrutinizing and judging of people because of some new algorithm that we have going on in our head or our feed. Things are not the same as they used to be before 2000, 2001. It's a different world. And as it evolves, it's important to reach out with your human voice and your eyes and your hugs and your humanity, because the digital world is not the same. But come to a meeting, shake a hand, meet somebody else, ask them their story, just sit and listen. Don't try to give advice. Just sit and listen and hold space, because these people need to talk. They need connection. I need connection, Thank you for being somebody to listen to me, because I feel a little less robotic and less controlled by an algorithm and more human and more, as a person, which is, in this world of everything's on the digital device, from doctor's appointments to my calendar to business to all of that, to get a break from that and come sit in the meeting and leave my phone in the car for an hour of meditation, and connection is the thing that's keeping me alive, because I've considered not existing anymore, especially since all this heavy stuff with my brother. It's crossed my mind several times. So if you guys are fighting depression, or you're not quite understanding what's going on in the world or with you or your family, or the demonic, crazy stuff that's happening around you, hold tight, get to a meeting, call your sponsor, say a prayer, pause, come in the present moment, and just hang on for dear life. And don't drink, don't take a drug, don't burn it all down. I've got 11 years of sobriety, 1 chip, but it doesn't mean that I can't go back out. But as long as I'm in here holding myself accountable and confessing everything to you guys, it's real. I'm not going to act like I'm something bigger than I am. There's not going to be some ego. When you go to the bar and you're drinking, you're trying to be some ego. You got the new watch, you got the clothes, you know what I mean? There's some swagger going on, and it's all bullshit. It's not real. And so anytime I can connect with some real people, I'm all about it. I think that's about all I got. Yeah.